Hi, it's me, Tyke the Retro Duck, coming to you live from my pantry. As to why I'm in my pantry instead of my room, it's because, well, we're gonna talk about food for thought. Oh wait, that was the wrong footage. Nah, here at Tyke the Retro Duck, we talk about video games, not food reviews, at least not yet. Maybe in the future. But anyways, we're here to talk about the games that I played in 2022. Now, note, they weren't all games released in 2022. They were just games that I managed to play in 2022 that were on my backlog. Some for 10 years, some a couple months. Some of the games are new. And they're just games that I've been wanting to play for a while, like Epic Mickey. Let's get into it. So the first game I played in 2022 was The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, because while I played it as a kid on the Wii, I wanted to relive the experience, so I streamed my experience playing Twilight Princess HD, which was a great start to the year. I had a blast. I've always been a huge Zelda fan, Twilight Princess being in one of my top 10 favorite Zelda games, being number 4 under Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, and of course Minish Cap. Minish Cap's my favorite Zelda game of all time, but it's a good time. I don't really need to say much on The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I'm happy that I was able to replay it in the HD version. I think if they were to take what they did on the Wii U and remaster it for the Switch, that would be awesome, because more people would be able to play a great game. But if it's stuck on the Wii U, it's stuck on the Wii U, and it's a good reason to buy one. So the second game I played in 2022 is, of course, Epic Mickey for the Nintendo Wii. Of course, I have this shirt. I never fully played through Epic Mickey as a kid, so the reason for that being my brother got a Wii and I got a Wii. My brother was off at college, asked me to borrow a bunch of my games. One of those games happened to be Epic Mickey for the Wii, and I wasn't able to play it because he ended up selling it to GameStop for, I guess, money in college, rather than, give it back to the person that owns it. So, mad at my brother for making me lose my original copy of Epic Mickey. It's fine. The gameplay holds up great. Graphically, though, the Wii, and it looks so pixelated, and it's just hard to look at. But I'm happy that I was able to play Epic Mickey for the Wii, and I definitely recommend it. If you have a Wii and you want a fun time, you can play it with your kids, you can play it by yourself. I'm a big fan. It's just, the concept is there for a great game. The sequel builds upon it, but also ruins it, which is how we managed to never get the third game in a planned trilogy. The third game I managed to play in 2022 was Super Mario 64. Now, if you're wondering, didn't you play Super Mario 64 as a kid? No, actually, I did not play Super Mario 64 as a kid, because unlike a lot of kids my age, I am 26, a lot of kids my age, I did not grow up with an N64. I had cousins that had an N64 at their house, but I never stayed at their house long enough to fully play through Mario 64, so I'd touched an N64 controller, played through the intro level, just ran around and had fun, but I never fully played the game. I never fully beat a Mario game until 2021, where I decided to go through and play Super Mario Odyssey, which was my first foray into a Mario game. And then I'm like, well, I should go try the traditional 3D Mario. And I played Super Mario 64. I played it through the Wii U, virtual console using my, Wii U Pro controller. And honestly, it ran really well. For a game from 1996, I had a blast playing it. There were some issues in certain areas, just because I'm not the smartest at video games, but that's just the joy of playing a game. Panzer Dragoon is a very short on-rail shooter where you fly on the back of a dragon and just go and shoot enemy ships down, pretty much. The game took about 3 hours. It was short, it was sweet, I liked it, I wish it was a little longer, I wish there was more, like they did a Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2 combo pack, instead of it just being Panzer Dragoon 1. I was happy that it was released physically though, because I heard somewhere a long time ago that it was supposed to be a digital-only game, and I was happy to get it on the Switch. I recently got the Switch and I wanted some newer games, because I had a Switch Lite, but I wanted better games that were better focused for an actual Switch versus the Switch Lite. Next up is this game. So I spent my entire birthday playing this game, The Legend of Oz: Dorothy's Return. So there is, in fact, a movie based on this game. It was free on Amazon Prime in February. It likely is still free on Amazon Prime. It is not a very good movie. So in this game, it is like a Candy Crush clone where you drag different shapes and match them into like lines of 3, and then it goes down, and then you beat up the enemy. I guess it's similar to Columns as well, more so, with like the boss fights. So you do that for a couple levels, and then the main enemy is this guy right here, the Jester. And so the Jester is trying to summon the Wicked Witch back to Oz. And so that's what he's trying to do, and he does that in the movie, and there's a whole tornado scene, and the Jester realizes that the Wicked Witch won't be his friend because she's wicked, and then the Jester, I think, dies. I don't remember, but I had a blast playing the game. There's no place like home, 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 there's no place like home. So once the Steam Deck released, they released Aperture Desktop. And as a huge Portal fan myself, I'm like, I want to play a Portal game, like a game set in the Portal universe again. I've always wanted a Portal 3, and what they did with Aperture Desktop was they set it to be a fun, like, addition to the Portal story while also being a great tech demo for a Steam Deck. However, I don't have a Steam Deck. I have a Sega Genesis Nomad that doesn't work. Pokemon's Legends Arceus, which I thought was a blast. It reinvigorated my love for the Pokemon genre, and I want to see Pokemon be more like that moving forward. There's so many words I could say about that game. I wish I put more time into it, is what I could say, but I was in such the mindset at the beginning of the year that I'm going to beat these 50 games, but so far I've only managed to even get to 7 at this point, and I'm like, I need to get going faster. So I didn't want to waste my time playing hours and hours of Pokemon, because I know that's a series that I can dive into and waste so much time in the franchise to just sit and play a Pokemon game without stopping at all. While also playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, while I was streaming Pokemon Legends Arceus, at the same time off stream, I was playing Portal Reloaded, which fixed my Portal itch. Portal Reloaded is like a Portal 2 mod pack, but a standalone release that's free to play and gives you a third portal, so it gives you like a time-dimensional portal. And so what I would do in my free time after working and after streaming, I would go through and I would play through Portal Reloaded, or on days that I didn't stream, I'd play that. And that game took me, I believe, 2 weeks. Pokemon Legends Arceus took me maybe 3 weeks to beat because I just wanted to take my time with it. But both games were great. Portal Reloaded I recommend if you're a Portal fan looking for that Portal itch. Obviously, you can always go back and replay Portal 1 and 2, but Portal Reloaded is a great standalone game. And Pokemon Legends Arceus, out of the 2 Pokemon games that released this year, I recommend that one a lot more, because that one is what Pokemon should be, versus Pokemon Violet, which is out now, which I also have played through, and we'll get into that one later. But Pokemon Legends Arceus is what Pokemon should be moving forward. Next up, and you might consider this not a game, but technically I considered anything in my game genre me getting to the credits of that game. So I did the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 50cc Cup because I wanted to play through Mario Kart. I got it digitally on the Switch. I have it digitally on one of my Wii U's, and then I have a physical copy on my Wii U shelf as well. Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I can't believe I slept on that for so long. I played it on the Switch through the Genesis collection, like the Sega Genesis collection on the Switch. And on that, I used the rewind feature to get through the game so I didn't have to keep dying. Of course, I could have waited till Sonic Origins came out, but I didn't know when I was playing that Sonic Origins was going to be a thing. I knew Frontiers was going to be a thing early on in the year, which is why I was like, okay, I've played through some Sonic games, but none of them to completion. Even Sonic Adventure 2, I'm like this close, last I checked, to finishing the final boss level. And I just cannot get through it because I could not make the jump And so I tried to play it last year at the end of the year. I'm like, oh, I'll set up my Wii. I'll play Sonic Adventure 2 to finish out this game. No. I was just like, I'm not going to sit here and do this. So Sonic 1 was the first Sonic game I've beaten in a long time. And I had a blast. It was short. I played it in my Switch on handheld mode. I mostly played it before I went to sleep. And then I did the same with Sonic 2. And Sonic 2 definitely improved upon what Sonic 1 did. But there isn't really much I can say that hasn't already been said before. Sonic Colors Ultimate, though, that game was weird. I'll give it that. It wasn't a bad Sonic game, but for some reason when I was playing it, everything for the colors just blurred for me. And it's not like I wanted it to look like that. I wanted to go see, as soon as I saw that, like the first night I played it, I'm like, can I go through and change the visual settings? No, I couldn't go through and change the visual settings. So I was like, this game looks like a really, really weird, washed out version of Sonic. Some elements looked fine. The cutscenes looked terrible because they were set for the Wii, not for the Switch. But I had fun. That game was a little bit more enjoyable than Sonic 2, just because Sonic 2 was fun, and Sonic Colors was the game I believe I played right after Barbie Dreamhouse Party? Yeah, it was the game I played right after Barbie Dreamhouse Party. Now you may be wondering, Tyke, a Barbie game? Really? Yes. Yes, I spent 2 days of my life playing Barbie Dreamhouse Party, which I do not recommend. It's a party game, but each minigame takes 3 minutes, and it's not worth it. I'm here in my car because even thinking about it gives me the urge to drive off a cliff. Before Epic Mickey, I had another love, and that love was the game Alice Madness Returns, which came out in 2011, and I have it on the PC. I also have it on the Xbox 360. At one point I tried to play it on the Xbox 360 so I could get American Mickey's Alice, which I tried to play first, but I didn't get very far into American Mickey's Alice, so that's a game I need to go back to in the future. But Alice Madness Returns is one of those games that was on my backlog for a long time. Even though I've seen the ending, and I've seen the ending multiple times, I'm like, I want to beat this game for myself. It's one of those games that has been on my backlog for so long. I got so far into it, I'm like, I want to see this through. There was one point in the game where I got stuck in a room and had to reset the game to see what happened. So then I installed a cheat where I could clip, because I'm like, oh, maybe my issue is I just can't get through a door. Nah, for some reason I got stuck in a spot where both doors of the room closed. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm stuck in this room. There's 2 doors, both of which don't open, one of which should open. I'm like, why is this closed? But that's just a good old-fashioned game bug from 2011. This game came out this year, and I never played a Kirby game before it, but for some reason, the trailer for Kirby and the Forgotten Lands just wowed me so much that I went and pre-ordered it right after I saw the first trailer that I could pre-order from, and was like, this game is going to be a blast. And it was. All of my Switch games that I've played this year have been such a fun time. I've had no issue with any of my Switch games that I've played. I've enjoyed all of them, even the ones I haven't fully finished. They've been just an enjoyable time, and Kirby is one of those. I had a blast. I really enjoyed the way that you could turn into random things. I like that the levels weren't too long. They didn't feel unwelcomed. I think that was overall a necessary need for Kirby. I didn't want the levels to go on for 10 years, but 5 to 10 minutes a level, perfectly fine. Everything was balanced as all things should be. Next up is a game that I played. This game was more for just me. I played it short. I think I did it in a night, and that was 12 minutes, which is a game where you and your wife are having a baby, but for some reason, a murderer comes and kill your wife. And it turns out that you were in fact your wife's long-lost brother, and you're having a baby. and her dad hypnotized you into not marrying her, and then you went and married her anyway. And it's a whole weird thing. There's a bunch of alternate endings, but what you do is pretty much every time something bad happens, the game resets and you're back in the hallway, and you have to do things in a certain sequence to unlock more and more of the story. Next up is another short but fun game, and fun fact, it's getting a sequel soon, and the sequel is coming to Xbox Game Pass, according to their announcement trailer, and that is Turnip Boy Kim Tax Evasion. It is a very short Zelda-like clone in which you play as Turnip Boy, and Turnip Boy goes on an adventure to go and kill the evil corrupt mayor who wants him to pay property taxes. So this game is a game I didn't know about until it already came out, but I managed to get it the day after it came out, and that is Stray. Stray is one of those games where I was like, how did I not know about this 2 years ago? And I'm like, I love cats, so I wanted to play a video game where I could play as a cat. And I had a blast. I managed to beat the game in 4 hours on a stream, and I was like, this game is a lot shorter than I thought. I thought it'd be at least 10 hours, but also as like a test demo to test like a game where you play as a cat. The development team there, they did such a phenomenal job, and they can definitely use that to develop what they made into something better. And of course, they're going to need feedback from us. So 4 hours for a game, while short, isn't too bad, especially when the game was $30. It wasn't $70 and the game took me 4 hours. There have been plenty of times where I've played, and likely you've played a game, where you've paid $70 and then the game is like 3 hours long, and you're like, this is not a great cost to like time balance ratio. Obviously you want a game where you pay like $50 to $60 and then you sink 100 hours into it, because then it's worth the cost. But if it's a $70 game and you only can manage to sink 4 hours into it, where's the cutoff? Recommend Stray if you ever wanted to play as a cat. Next up is another game I played in my childhood, Drawn to Life. So Drawn to Life is a DS game in which you draw a character, and the character you create, there's a bunch of creatures that are captured because Wilfra, one of the evil boys, he decided to go and be all evil and like talk to the darkness. But it's also an allegory for God, because you, the creator, created a hero who represents Jesus. There's a whole weird religious allegory. It's creative. The game wants you to be creative. So you take your stylus, you draw all the items, and it's a good story. Drawn to Life, though, I'm happy that I played it. So, Old Man's Journey was one of those games that I was like unsure of what to play, but I had some points on my Switch account, and Old Man's Journey I could get for free with like the Switch Gold points. So I got it, and it's an interesting game where you drag the different shapes of the background to create a puzzle to help the man walk, and you help the man walk from his house to his dying, I believe, either ex-wife's house or daughter's house. I don't know if it's his ex-wife, but he did abandon his family to go out for a life at sea. And so he came back at the end because the one person was dying, because he got a letter, and the letter forced him to go on this journey. So the first game I played on the PlayStation 4 this year was Super Hot. Super Hot is interesting because it was free on PlayStation Plus. I never had it before, never really thought much about it. Was like, this game seems interesting. I think I saw someone play it for about 5 minutes and was like, oh, I should try this game. I thought I wanted to play a bit of an FPS game, and the way Super Hot works is obviously the bullets don't move unless you move. So bullets move in real time, weapons move in real time, so you need to time yourself so that things don't hit you and you hit your enemy before they can hit you. So there were certain segments of this game in which I just was not able to go through and do anything. I beat it in a day. The game after that I played was actually accidental. I didn't mean to finish this game. It just kind of happened. So I bought Jeopardy for the Wii U. It was one of the 4 games that I was missing. So obviously when I get the Wii U games, I like to test them. So to test Jeopardy, I was like, oh, I'll play through a Jeopardy game. And then the credits rolled, and I'm like, oh. So 20 minutes later, I managed to finish Jeopardy. Completely by accident. Next up is my first and only Vita game of the year, Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition. I have Fighting Climax, not Ignition, for the Vita as well, but I recently at that time was playing Shakugan no Shana and wanted to fight as Shana, and Shana is in Ignition, but I believe not in the first game, and there were some other characters that are in the second game, and I'm like, well, I can get this game. Technically, I believe it was Japanese only, but the thing with that is the Vita and the Switch also are not region locked, so you can get games from all across the world. So this game was actually really fun. I played it with my friend in like couch co-op. We did it the old-fashioned way, where we would swap who plays the game. So every time someone lost a race, we would swap who played. This is, of course, Smurf Racer, which I'll be talking about Smurf Racer in the future in a lot more in depth than I currently will be. But Smurf Racer was fun. I had fun with my friend. Him and I both had a good time, I would think. It wasn't the worst game that we could have ever played together. Did you know that it's, in fact, the best month ever? I sure didn't. Best Month Ever is a game in which you play as a boy and his mom going on a quest to find the boy's dad because the mom is dying. So the mom takes you on a roundabout journey to different members of your family before she goes and drops you off with your dad. Depending on the actions in the game, there's a bunch of different endings. I believe the ending I got, I became like a sniper for the army, and my family disowned me, and then I had a son of my own. After playing the sad game, which was Best Month Ever, where I found my dad, I went through and I played a game that I spent a lot more time in than I thought I was going to. Sonic Frontiers. So Sonic Frontiers, I enjoyed so much, I managed to play the game for 9 hours straight. I stayed up from like 8 p.m. on maybe 6 p.m. on a Friday where I started streaming, and I believe I streamed until 4 a.m. where I managed to beat the boss that I wanted to get to in that amount of time, because I tried to do everything. I tried 100% everything, and it was just one of those games where I wanted to go through and play it as much as I could, and I was just having a really fun time playing through that game. I then managed to play it for like 12 hours the next day and 6 hours the next day until it was finally finished, because I wanted to get through Sonic Frontiers so that I had time to play the next game, which was Pokemon Violet. However, with Pokemon Violet, I managed to play through the tutorial. I didn't like it. So I went back to my roots and I played Pokemon Shield on the Nintendo Switch. And so with Pokemon Shield, I went through and I played the game. I managed to beat that game in a weekend, and while I was playing that game in a weekend, I learned obviously all of the Gen 8 Pokemon because I never played Pokemon Shield up until this point. I've had it sitting on my shelf for the 2 years that I've had it. Never played it, never bothered opening it. I went through and played it. I had a really fun time, and then I went through with a reinvigorated state, and I played through Pokemon Violet, and for the entire month of November and most of December, I've only been playing Pokemon Violet. I have not touched a single other game for the month of December, except for Pokemon Violet, which is bad when I wanted to reach a quota of 50 games, Pokemon Violet being the 28th game that I completed. After the 28th game that I completed, I'm like, I can hit 30 games potentially, but as of right now, I'm at 29 games, and the 29th game that I beat after Pokemon Violet is Before Your Eyes, which is a game in which you control your character by blinking, and you blink through life, only to learn that your life, you lied about your entire life because you ended up in bed because you were a cancer patient who died as a 12-year-old who didn't get to live a long life. And while the game is really sad, it's really cool because it uses blinking to control your movements and to control the storytelling going forward. But so a lot of the story is dialogue heavy, and one of the issues with that game is if you're trying to listen to the story and you unintentionally blink without covering your eyes, then it skips forward to the next section